All right, I'm back. All right, now look, today I'm fitting to show y'all how I make one of my absolutely favorite desserts, which is this no-bake wild blueberry cheesecake. Let me tell you something. This cheesecake is top tier. It will make you realize that you can enjoy cheesecake without having to bake it and also without having to use damn sour cream. I don't really understand why people use sour cream. It's just not necessary. But anyway, child, go on ahead and get your pen and paper because today I'm finna show you how to whip together one of the best cheesecakes you will ever have. And it will take little to no effort, to be quite frank. You just need a little bit of patience and time.
Whipping up all of your favorite recipes. Simply Food.
You should know by now that you're in for a treat.
Simply Food.
There's no other channel where you'd rather be.
Simply Food. Seafood, pasta, cakes, and pies. Sing and laugh and even cry. Like and share and hit subscribe. Simply Food by TY.
So like I said, we're doing a no bake. So I have 2 blocks of room temperature cream cheese. I have a half a cup of some heavy whipping cream. I'm going to be using 1.5 cups of these blueberries that I picked up from Trader Joe's, which I absolutely adore and love. I like to use Biscoff cookies instead of graham crackers. It just elevates the dish just that much more. 5 tablespoons room temp butter. Like I said, I'm using bourbon vanilla bean paste, mascarpone, half of the juice of a lemon. I have some sugar, and I'm going to be using a 7-inch springform pan. You see that? You see that? You see that? Don't ask me for the damn ingredient list. Now, come on. Now, in my stand mixer, yes, you can use a hand mixer if you would like. That's totally fine. I've added in both of the blocks of the cream cheese. I'm also adding in the full container of that mascarpone. I'll put the size on the screen. I'm also adding in my sugar as well as that delicious bourbon vanilla bean paste. If you can't find the bourbon vanilla bean paste, just use regular vanilla bean paste. I would suggest using the paste versus the extract because those little beads of the vanilla bean mixed throughout is just absolutely heavenly. So just know that you can use the regular paste or the bourbon. Either way, it's going to be absolutely delicious. As it's starting to get nice and smooth, I then start to gradually add in my heavy whipping cream. I don't really find it necessary to whip the heavy whipping cream separately. It just isn't necessary. Get that nice and smooth, and you can set that to the side. I'm now going to work on breaking down my Biscoff cookies. I break it down into a crumble. I slightly melt down that 5 tablespoons of butter, and then I just gradually add it in to the food processor, and as you can see, it'll turn a nice dark color, and that's how you know the butter is fully incorporated. I like to do it in the food processor so that I can make sure that the butter really is mixed through and through. I have lined the bottom of my 7-inch springform pan here with the crust. You can use as much or as little as the crust as you would like. I don't necessarily bother with bringing it up on the sides. I like mine to be nice and flat, but you can play around with that. And see, this is the reason why I said that bourbon paste is heavenly, because you could see all of those beads. And I'm telling y'all, it just makes it. This is the reason why this recipe will stand out more than others. Taking these little extra steps will take a no-bake cheesecake, which could sometimes be very basic and boring and just taste like sour cream and sweet cream cheese, into a more elevated dish. So trust the process and understand that these little extra steps in choosing higher quality ingredients will get you very, very far. I made sure that once I put the crust in the springform pan, I placed it in the refrigerator for about 30 minutes so that it could settle up before I began to add in the actual cheesecake batter itself. Now that I've put the batter into the pan, I'm going to gradually smooth it out. But as I'm smoothing it out, I'm applying just a little bit of pressure to make sure that there's not too many air pockets and to also make sure that it's also nice and even. Now, I did tell you guys that this is going to be a blueberry cheesecake. Now, if you want, you could put half of the mix in and then put a layer of the blueberry mixture in and then put the rest on the top so that you can have it mixed through and through. I don't necessarily find that necessary. I like to have my blueberry filling directly on the top of it so that I can also enjoy the taste of the cheesecake itself separately if I want to do so. Now that I've gotten this nice and cleaned up, I'm going to wrap that bad boy up with some cling film and place it in the fridge so that it can get nice and cold. I like to do it overnight. Make this the day before. Do not try to do it on the same day. It's not going to work, okay? Now, as far as the jelly, I'm using 1.5 cups of those berries. I put in my sugar, my lemon juice. Make sure you don't put any damn seeds in it like I just did, and you're going to break that down over a low simmer. Make sure that you are continuously mixing. As it starts to come up to a simmer, I added in 1 tablespoon 1 teaspoon of cornstarch mixed with 1 teaspoon of water, and it's going to turn into a very, very thick jelly. This cooking process takes anywhere between 10 to 12 minutes over a low temperature. Just make sure that you're consistently mixing. The skins from the fruit are also going to help thicken it up, and as you can see, it's coating the back of that spoon just the way I want it to. All of this stuff can all be made the day before because you really want all of the elements to be nice and cold before you put it together. So I'm also going to now just put this in the fridge and allow that to get cold. Once everything gets nice and chilled, then you can go on ahead and place the berries right on the top. And then I like to wrap it back up in cling film and I place it back in the fridge. But again, as long as the cheesecake itself has been resting for minimum 8 hours, and as long as the jam itself is nice and cold, then you can serve it truly whenever you want. The most important thing here is to make sure that you do not try to make this cheesecake and serve it the same day if there's not at least 8 hours in between. It really needs to set up so that it will be nice and firm. And you will see how perfect the slice is going to come out if you let it sit the way I did. So like I said, now that I got the berries on it, I went on ahead and wrapped it up with cling film. I placed it back in the fridge for a few hours until I was ready to serve it. And then, as you can see now, it's like this beautiful blueberry jam. My God, on today. Carefully remove your springform pan, and then I went around the edges with some whipped cream. You can use really whatever you want, or you can completely cover the top with blueberries. I like to do just the center, and then the leftover jam, I serve it on the side if people want extra is how I go about doing it. And that's pretty much how I make my cheesecake, you guys. Let me tell you something. This is not difficult to make, I promise you. It does take patience, it takes time, but it is not difficult by any stretch of the imagination. And I promise you, if you make this, people will be asking you to make cheesecake forever. And I wanted to show you guys how to make this super easy one first before I start to dive into showing you guys how to make any more complicated ones, i.e. some of the baked cheesecakes and all of those things. All right? I love y'all so much. And don't forget, make sure that y'all save the date September the 10th, because that is when the pre-sale for my cookbook comes out. And I'm going to have a bunch of different things in the cookbook. This will not be in there, but a bunch of other good things will be. So just trust me, honey. Get my cookbook because you're going to want it. All right? I love y'all. Y'all babies take care. All right, I got to go, honey, because let me tell you something. After watching this, now I need to take my big ass back on upstairs and get me an extra slice of damn cheesecake. I'm not even supposed to be eating this. But see, I'm getting upset because I'm doing this voiceover for y'all and it's making me hungry all over again. I'm not supposed to be eating none of this. But damn it to hell, when it's good because yada ba see ya bye bye. Because it's blessed.
Playing in the kitchen.
Simply Food by TY.
We hope that you enjoyed it.
Simply Food by TY. If you haven't took the time, make sure you subscribe. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching.